Hello, one and all. The fever season is done. We got to hear from President Kelly Krauskopf, who came from the Indiana Pacers, and so now it's time to shift to Pacerland. Perfect handoff of the baton because the Pacers kicked things off tonight for the preseason in Atlanta. We're going to talk about it for about 8 to 10 minutes. We're going to do that after every game this season, God willing, and it's the perfect time to start. It's the preseason. I'm trying something new. You're listening to something new. It's preseason for everybody. Fun game, 131 to 130, very preseason score, very Pacers and Hawks score. All their games last year were crazy scoring games like this. Let's start with the stuff that mattered, then get to stuff that's gonna matter, and then talk about some other general notes from this game. Stuff that mattered, the Pacers starters. Unfortunately, Miles Turner did not play in this game. He's dealing with an injury, which he was a late scratch. Rick Carlisle did not even announce that this morning when talking about injuries on the radio, but he did not play. So James Wiseman actually started at center. Isaiah Jackson also hurt. He has an injury as well. But the starters were still pretty good altogether. A noteworthy thing as we talk about some stats is the starters only played with the starting five. And the bench for the first 2.5 quarters only played with the bench. Quenton Jackson came in the middle of the third quarter for TJ McConnell. That was the first disruption to the hockey sub-style rotation, which actually makes it a lot easier to analyze some of these lineups. The starters were pretty good. They were +7. The Pacers won with them out there, which matters going forward. And I didn't even think they were particularly spectacular. Siakam was really good. Pascal Siakam was really good in this game. I thought Andrew Nembhard was really good in this game. But Tyrese Haliburton, clearly some tweaks to have him be off the ball a little more, especially with Nembhard and Siakam playing this well. Aaron Nesmith struggled from the field. James Wiseman struggled on the defensive end, although Wiseman was good on offense and Nesmith guarded well. So in general, the fact that the starters in a game like that, with a different center than they normally have, still were effective was noteworthy for the Pacers, something they'll be happy with. Wiseman on offense, again, was very solid. This was the debut of him in a Pacers uniform against a different opponent. Didn't miss a shot. He did miss all of his free throws, but didn't miss a shot. Had some offensive rebounds. When he can get that seal that the Pacers like, the really early seals when there's switches, Obi Toppin's very good at this. He was effective in those ways. He had some nice turnarounds and plays in the post. His defense was not very good in pick and roll. Dyson Daniels went at him a few times in non-pick and rolls as well. But overall, an okay debut, I suppose, for James Wiseman. But I was very intrigued, I think, with the starters the most by the usage of their three main ball handlers. In this one, Tyrese Haliburton, like I said, felt like he was more off the ball than I am accustomed to with this Pacers team. And Siakam had it a lot, and Siakam should have it a lot. He's very good. I find this very intriguing, and I don't mean that in a bad way. The way they were playing through Siakam, the way he would get a rebound and push in transition, he still gave it to Tyrese Haliburton sometimes, but he himself just took it sometimes, had some nice passes in that way. His first assists for Wiseman's first basket was from exactly that. And Andrew Nembhard got wherever he wanted. No Hawks player could guard him at all. He just got into the paint, he got to the mid-range, he got shots up, he drew fouls. It was a very good performance from Andrew Nembhard in that way. So perhaps it was just that those guys were tearing it up, and Haliburton hit 2 threes as an off-ball player in this game. Perhaps there's more to this, but I'll be curious about the free-flowing nature of those three as ball handlers. Clearly, Haliburton is the most talented of the three and the best offensive general, but if they can spread it out more, keep a defense on their toes, play more random, which is something the Pacers love to do, that will be noteworthy. But in general, not a ton of takeaways from the starters. They played well and picked up where they left off from last season. I think that matters. What is more important and what the Pacers really care about is their second unit, which was also disrupted by the injury bug. With Wiseman starting, they had no centers for the bench, so Obi Toppin was the 5, with Jarris Walker, Benedict Mathurin, Ben Shepherd, and TJ McConnell joining him for the bench group. TJ McConnell was awesome. No surprises there. Didn't miss a shot, had some assists. Made that 6-footer he always makes fading away. Everybody else had some wobbly moments, right? Ben Shepherd missed every 2-point shot he took, although he did make 2 threes in this game. Jarris Walker struggled defensively in the first quarter and really offensively, but he was pretty good the rest of the game. His start, I think, will cloud people's judgment of how Jarris Walker really played. Him and Ben Mathurin, the guys that have maybe the most intrigue on this team this year, both really picked it up after slower starts and both played over 20 minutes, the only 2 guys to do that. Walker finishes 3 for 6 with 8 points, Mathurin 2 for 7 with 8 points, but got 4 free throws. Getting to the line and the more physical NBA is going to matter for him. Obi Toppin was really good, especially playing the 5. He's been good against the Hawks for forever, but he made some defensive plays too. Good Obi Toppin night, but I think the bench intrigue for the rest of preseason is going to be about Mathurin being more efficient, Walker with more consistent defensive ability, although he did pick it up after the first quarter, and Shepherd just being, in general, a little bit better as he kind of tries to expand his game. I thought Mathurin kept the ball moving better than he did at times last season, even though it still is like a tick slower than maybe you'd want if you're the Pacers. It was better in that way, even if the decisions weren't always the exact right call. I thought that was noteworthy for him. And Jarris Walker hitting some threes, making some nice passes. He had 3 assists. I think that was pretty important as well. So of the guys of consequence, of the rotation of consequence, mostly good, some bad for the Pacers. They were ahead at halftime, which was the only half that they actually played their guys for the whole half, which is, they'll walk away with that. In fact, they should have won the game. They were winning with mere seconds to go before Seth Lundy hit a 3. The result doesn't matter. It's preseason. But I think in terms of the actual takeaways from the rotation players, no one really jumped out. I mean, I don't even know if James Wiseman counts as someone who's going to be a rotation player. Of the guys who are in the rotation in this game, I think Mathurin, being a little more efficient, something to watch out for, but in general, he played a fine game. And everybody else was kind of like as expected. Wiseman was good on offense and bad on defense. He's a new guy, so he's going to be of major eyeball watching for the rest of preseason. Of the reserves, right, this is where more of the new guys are. In fact, the Quenton Jackson, Enrique Freeman, Cole Swider, Tristan Newton, Kendall Brown, James Johnson grouping is guys that no one has seen a lot for the Pacers. In fact, Brown and Johnson are the ones with prior Pacers experience, unless you count Quenton Jackson's 2 games. Quenton Jackson was quite good. I think he was one of the standouts of this game with his 13 points, 4 boards, and 4 assists on 5 for 6 shooting. Cole Swider was nice as well with his 12 points. Those two, the second and third leading scorers for the Pacers. Swider in a battle for the last roster spot with Kendall Brown. He really popped in a lot of ways. The team was really excited when Swider got to 10 points on a nice move to get open for a 3. And Kendall Brown struggled until he came alive very late in the game, but until that point wasn't playing, I thought, particularly well, but he made every shot he took. It took longer for him to get going, I think, than Swider, which matters. Those two are battling for a roster spot. Enrique Freeman, Tristan Newton, they looked like two-way guys. Freeman's effort stands out. Newton had some nice plays late and got 5 free throw attempts up, a continuation of something he did very well in Summer League. So if you want more deeper analysis on all this stuff, Locked On Pacers podcast tomorrow, we'll break down much more about the rotational choices made, all my notes from the game. But I think the big picture takeaways and stuff to keep watching the rest of the preseason would be, 1, do the starters continue to beat other teams, right? The Hawks starters against the Pacers starters, the Pacers were the better team, right? And they didn't even look like they were really clicking, and they didn't have Miles Turner. 2, new guys. James Wiseman, good on offense, not so good on defense. What's the net value of that? Is that actually going to be enough to shake up the center rotation? And Swider did some good stuff, showed what he can do as a shooter, and actually had 6 rebounds, which led the Pacers in this game as well. And then the lottery picks will be a big story for the rest of the preseason as well. Some up and down moments for Ben Mathurin and Jarris Walker. Walker started slow and got going. Mathurin started a little better and kind of slowed down. How they continue to play will be of major notes for the rest of the preseason. Pacers' next one's in Cleveland on Thursday. Then they're at home for the final 2, so we'll see if any health things changes. Obviously, if Johnny Furphy plays, he's of major intrigue for the preseason. Their top pick rookie from the most recent draft. How the rotation shakes out if Isaiah Jackson or Miles Turner are back in the mix will, of course, be noteworthy as well. But I thought this game was kind of what I thought I'd see from the Pacers to open the preseason. 1/2 of their normal rotation. Most of their guys from last year looked pretty good. They were winning in the consequential part of the game, and yet they'll walk away saying, dang, we need to defend better. They know that. They've talked about it all training camp long. They talked about it all summer league long. They talked about it in their exit interview. It's so obviously the thing that's holding them back from going from like tier 2 or 3 in the league to tier 1 or 2 in the league. They've got to get better at it. They struggled at it at times in this game. On the defensive end, the Hawks can score, but they shouldn't have scored as easily as they did at times, scoring 30 points in the latter half of the first quarter. That really flipped this game around. For more on this, the Locked On Pacers podcast will have more tomorrow, and you can read more on SI, where this video will also be posted. Hope you guys enjoyed the game. We'll see you after the next one.